Hello, cinephiles, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiots talk about movies. And today, we're going to discuss why M. Night Shyamalan should never make movies again.
True.
As always, we must mention that there will be spoilers ahead for different movies and shows. You can keep watching, but just know you've been warned. I will find you.
Wrong movie. Before we start, I do want to make two little announcements.
Two?
One up. Yeah, more than one.
Two's better than one.
Two can be as bad as one.
Oh, that just makes me think of do you remember the movie Recess?
Yeah.
I remember the TV show Recess.
They came out with a movie. I think it was like School's Out or something. And it was.
I remember both.
That song is in the movie. Yeah, I remember the show too, but that song's in the movie.
Guess what? It's also.
Anyways. Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Can we make Recess one of the franchises?
Is there, there's only one movie.
Yeah, we can make a listeners episode.
Okay, this has to be a new record for how fast we've derailed.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey guys. So yeah, I want to announce two little things. First off, want to announce our franchise for season 4. It is Recess. I'm just kidding. If you haven't already seen on our Instagram at Silver Screen Sip, by the way, no shame in that plug. The voting results for next season's franchise came in last week, and we had a resounding, unanimous vote for Pirates of the Caribbean. Literally nobody voted for Lord of the Rings. So,
yeah, brother, I survived another freaking season.
Yeah. So, we are happy to announce that for season 4, we will be covering the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And also, my other news, or our other news, sorry.
Yeah, it's all about show, sorry.
Yeah. Please be sure to stick around till the end because we have some other huge, like Donald Trump,
huge
news for season 4. So please stick around for that. Now, I guess we should start with Lewis. So Lewis, why don't you tell us what film you saw and who suggested it?
Ooh, can be as bad as.
Okay, he's in his own little world now.
I'm sorry. We are what Wow, I can't even speak. I've had a long day at work. I'm sorry.
He's speechless.
Honestly, yeah. When I finished the movie, I was. So I got to watch a movie recommended by Jason Gonzalez. It was known as The Happening.
Thanks, Jason. He continues to torture us all.
Yeah, Jason, you really set me up to be tortured, bud. I'm a little pissed at you. But anyway,
he's like, I will be exchanging words after this podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna find your house. Anyway, so The Happening, if you don't know what it is a movie starring Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, gross!
Great start.
Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, okay.
Even better.
John Leguizamo.
Totally butchered that, but sure.
Leguizamo? I thought that's how you pronounce it.
Leguizamo? Wait, Mom!
Yeah. We're asking the wrong guy because this man can't speak for shit.
He also, what do you call it? But also, Lou always corrects me on my spelling of things, and he turns out to be wrong half the time. Mom!
Yeah.
John Leguizamo, right? That's how you pronounce it?
He's asking his mom.
Because she knows. She loves John Leguizamo. This is John Leguizamo, right? That's how you pronounce it? It's John Leguizamo.
Thanks, Mom. Shout out, Mom.
Shout out, Mom.
Okay, so it's John Leguizamo. Leguizamo.
It's now getting weird. It's not sounding like a real word anymore.
Anyways, okay. He's in it. The guy from Ice Age.
Yeah, he's a sloth from Ice Age.
He also had a stand-up special, I think about a people's history of the United States on
Not as important
Netflix.
As Ice Age.
So we have 3 people who are pretty world-renowned as being, one of them being a tolerable actor, and the other 2 being like famous. And I'll let you guess who's who. But anyway, I'm gonna start off by rating this movie a 0.5.
Damn.
Wow! Holy shit!
I hated it that much, but I can't, shit on Zoe Deschanel and John Leguizamo. Like it's like Central Park, New York. It's literally just people freeze in place, repeat what they're saying, and kill themselves in escalatingly violent ways. I don't think that was actually a word.
It is now.
No, we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
From there, Mark Wahlberg's character is a science teacher. His wife.
I would never believe that in a million years.
His wife Zoe Deschanel, is some awkward girl.
Of course.
Of
When is she not? When is she not?
When is Zoe Deschanel not playing an awkward girl?
An awkward, quirky person.
Quirky.
Okay, but we're gonna explain something. There's gonna be a very key thing for her character that I'm gonna explain momentarily. Zoe Deschanel is playing his awkward wife. John Leguizamo he's the math teacher who's Mark Wahlberg's best friend.
Okay.
And they hear about what happened in New York, and they think like on the news they're talking about like, oh, terrorists released a neurotoxin and people are like, going into this fucking kill themselves state. And I'm like, why? That doesn't make sense, right? You start, so what the next premise becomes throughout the rest of the movie is that, like they start evacuating New York. They hop on a train. They try getting out of Philadelphia. They find out the train stops in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Okay.
And the train conductors are like, we've lost contact with everyone. And everyone in Philadelphia has now started to kill themselves in the same manner as in New York.
Is this movie rated R?
Let me check.
I'm just curious because I can only because like M. Night Shyamalan usually does like, I don't know, he goes back and forth between rated R and PG-13. But
what was Split? Was that a rated R or was that PG?
Split was PG-13.
Okay.
This was
this movie's rated R. It's only 90 minutes.
Yes, it's only 90 minutes.
Wow, a lot happens in 90 minutes. Holy shit. Okay.
Right.
Continue.
So you keep seeing different scenes of people once again killing themselves. Mark Wahlberg, John Leguizamo, Zoe Deschanel, John Leguizamo's daughter. They're trying to reach a certain area. John Leguizamo's wife, who was supposed to meet them at the train station, didn't make it to the train station in time. Decided to take a bus to a place called Princeton. Now, suddenly, John Leguizamo's like, I'm basically just kind of discussing what the whole movie is at this point. But
yes,
fuck it. But John Leguizamo decides, I have to go find my wife. Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel, take my daughter with. I'll meet you somewhere.
Hold up, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make any sense. Is the whole point to get them out of danger? Like, hey, take them back to where you're supposed to be running from.
Right. And so finally, they meet someone who's like, they run a plant nursery. The dude's like, I think it's the plants. I think the plants are releasing chemical toxins that are stimulating neurotransmitters in our brain, and they're causing us to kill ourselves.
Is this like said as in like, this guy is crazy, nobody should believe him kind of thing? Like he's a madman?
You can see his face and like the fact that he's got one lazy eye.
Okay, so they're playing it up as like, yeah, you're not supposed to believe this guy because he just looks like a crazy guy.
But that's the thing. He turns out to be right.
It's always the crazy one.
Everyone ignores the scientists.
So what they didn't reveal in the beginning, like you didn't really pay attention to it, or you never really got like a whiff, or like a scene that showed it. But once that crazy guy mentioned it, what you start seeing as the representation of the villain in this movie is the fucking wind. The wind blowing through the trees is what's spreading these spores that are killing everybody. And it only affects people in a certain population density. So entire cities, too many people close together. That's why they died. People in smaller groups, perfectly unaffected. What?
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Also, if there was wind in that case, it would actually dissipate the toxin significantly, not spread it across certain like places. You know what I mean? Like if I had an example in my head when I was thinking about like when I was going to talk about this today, with like when in World War I they were releasing like sarin gas, but like in when they released these toxic gases during the war, the thing that helped dissipate the cloud was a natural breeze, a strong natural breeze getting the gas out of there. Like otherwise you just had to wait for the gas to kind of dissipate on its own. And yeah, so
this is like a mist situation where it's like, oh my god, it's the mist. Like
they don't even show it. No, they don't even show like anything besides wind. There's not even like a yellow gas or spore, or like when trees, there's not even pollen.
Yeah,
it's just like you see grass moving to the left.
Oh my god.
Basically.
What? That's a really dumb name for a movie too. Like The Happening. That's just like, come on, you couldn't think of anything a little more clever.
More, I'm thinking of what is happening right now.
Yeah.
And what was even funnier to me was when I started it, because my HBO Max was in Spanish. It read the title as The End of Time.
That's a little bit better.
And I'm like, okay, that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so not only do we have a shitty representation of our villain, we also have inaccurate dispersal of said toxic whatever the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
We have only really 2 redeeming cast members in the entire film, and they both play such small roles. Zoe Deschanel's character was just at first the awkward wife, and it seemed like her and Mark were having some kind of problem. Do you want to know what that problem was?
He can't perform in bed.
No.
He's too caught up in his work.
No.
Damn it.
She had dessert with a guy, and I'm not using that as a euphemism. I'm literally meaning she shared a piece of dessert with some dude at a restaurant, and he's been blowing her up ever since. And she's like feels super guilty about it, and she hasn't told. So she's been acting very distant.
Nothing happened between them. It just
no. It was literally just dessert, and she brings it up.
Fuck?
She brings it up in this random scene where she starts crying and tells him about it while they're trying to escape death.
The wind is coming, but babe, I cheated on you, sort of.
So you gave it a 0.5.
Okay, but I'm not done. So you're gathering from like the earlier scenes. Whenever you see the wind, people about to start dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when at some point Mark like figures it out. Like after that plant guy dies in an off screen, off screen.
Of course he dies. Yes.
Mark, the science teacher, is like, oh my God, he was right. He gets the realization as if he's like a fucking like science teacher figuring out a problem for his students. And I'm like, bro, people are dying around you.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's very, very key to like why this is so fucking poorly done. If you had something that was in the air, right? Something that's being dispersed through the air by the wind, wouldn't your first thought be to go into a place that does not have free-flowing air?
Like a building. Yes.
Yeah, like lock up a building, board up the windows.
All of us have been for the last 2 years, wear a fucking mask.
Correct. Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, they are going deeper and deeper into the woods.
Why?
Into the rural countryside.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's just going to get populated. That's stupid because everyone's going to go there.
If you've figured out that it's the plants, why are you going towards the plants?
Yeah.
Right. So you've had all this like clearly not linear thought put into like what the villain is supposed to be and how you're supposed to combat it, all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it ends, there are 2 things that are fucking irritating. One, there's a scene where it's like they're the last 3 people left in their group that's been going deeper and deeper into the forest. They've been watching other people die.
Yeah.
Mind you, there's a 9-year-old girl watching suicide happen constantly.
Traumatizing.
Oh, she's fucked.
Mark Wahlberg and Zoe and the girl walk outside together, totally unaffected when the wind comes by. And when they walk back inside, the event must have ended. Just like that. They just know because they realize that what would have happened within the next few minutes was that they were going to kill themselves. Because they've seen the reaction of everyone around them. But they go back inside the building. They're like, the event must have ended before we walked outside. And that's it. And then it transitions to like 3 months later. And someone on the news there's like a scientist on the news like, this was a warning. This was Mother Nature's warning. The other thing that irritated the fuck out of me with this ending was that the girl was not traumatized. Zoe Deschanel is now pregnant.
Okay.
Okay.
The girl still lives with them, even though both her parents committed suicide, and is totally untraumatized by that fact.
She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's normal."
Yeah, okay. I live with Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel now. Whatever.
I don't need therapy.
I don't need therapy or anything. And then the very final scene, the suicides start happening in France.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it gets a 0.5 out of 5 for me. Don't watch this film. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time.
Is this your first 0.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is my worst rating.
His worst rated movie so far.
Good job, Jason.
You're helping us make history.
Mm-hmm.
The only props I can give to M. Night Shyamalan for anything, right? Like I can never forgive him for the Last Airbender, and The Happening is just I would never dare watch it. But what I will give him props for is that he's very eccentric and he's very goal oriented. Like he wants to make a movie, he will make that movie. He will put his own money into it. He won't have any studio interfere with it. He will make it happen the way he wants, which I think is commendable.
What is the last film that was actually good made by M. Night Shyamalan?
Split wasn't bad.
Split wasn't bad. Old, I heard, got mixed reviews, but like if you were expecting an M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, then you'd like it.
Sure. The original film that M. Night Shyamalan, I think, gained prominence for was The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Which was his first, blockbuster film.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "Holy crap, this guy is freaking amazing!" And then he did Signs, and everybody was like, "Holy crap, this guy just makes hits."
Holy crap, this guy doesn't make sense. And then he went ahead and made The Happening. Holy God, this man shouldn't make movies anymore.
Okay, well, so M. Night Shyamalan's filmography, right? Like, so he did 2 movies before The Sixth Sense, but I don't know about I don't know anything about those. But there was a Sixth Sense, that's his big break, and then he did Unbreakable, and then he did Signs. So that's like 3 crazy good movies in a row, give or take. And then he did The Village, which I thought was pretty good, but apparently a lot of people didn't like it because of the plot twist. Obviously, they thought the plot twist was stupid, which I'll give him that. It's a very M. Night Shyamalan plot twist in The Village. And then he did Lady in the Water, which apparently did very bad. And then he did The Happening, which is terrible. And then he did The Last Airbender, so he went up and then he went back down.
After Earth.
Yeah, then he did After Earth, so just 4 misses in a row.
Did you guys ever see The Visit?
Yeah, then he did The Visit, which is another miss, I guess.
Listen, it wasn't terrible, but like the plot twist part wasn't bad. It was how he went from there. You know what I mean? Because if you guys haven't seen The Visit, or if I'm letting you know, I'm going to spoil it. In The Visit, we find out at the end, that the kids who thought they were staying with their grandparents the whole time aren't staying with their grandparents, and they're these like crazy lunatics. I thought that was an actually interesting plot twist. However, from there on, it's just bad. He could have resolved it and made it and tied it in a nice, perfect little bow, but he did not.
I do feel like it is funny though, because like maybe he's just has to come up with like a plot twist because that's what his thing is. Like he's known for doing a plot twist, so if he doesn't have a plot twist, nobody's gonna like it.
Yeah, it's a shtick. Thank you, Jason, for your suggestion.
Yes. Thank you, Jason, for torturing Lou.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Hot Fuzz requested by Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany. I love Edgar Wright. Okay, Baby Driver, amazing editing. Oh my god, good, great. Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite Edgar Wright movies. So just good all around. Now this is part of the, if you guys didn't know, is part of the Cornetto trilogy. It includes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Which also which all star Nick Frost and Simon Pegg as the dynamic duo. And there's a lot of like themes and bits that kind of roll through the movies, which we'll get into if we ever get into the franchise.
Hot Fuzz is incredible.
Okay, now so if you guys don't know what Hot Fuzz is about, it's basically about this cop who gets sent to the who does really good at his job, and he is so obsessed with his job that he's the best cop in London. To the point where they say he's making him look bad, so they send him out into the countryside. And then some nefarious things happen in the countryside where it turns out like, oh, nothing's as it seems. There you go. There's your logline. There's your synopsis of the movie. Now,
good job.
So a lot of the movie I like about the writing. So like the writing, there's a lot of foreshadowing about things that are going to happen, and a lot of like jokes about things that if you've watched a movie before, you'll get it on the second viewing because you'll be like, oh, I know what that means.
I like those kind of movies.
Yeah, so when you watch it again, you're like, oh, now I get that joke. And like, even though you wouldn't have noticed it was a joke the first time going through, and the second time you're like, oh, that was a joke. I see what it means. So I like that. Also, he's very good at doing the montage. Like everybody knows the classic Edgar Wright montage with the frantic zooms, all that stuff. Always great. Love those. There's a lot of visual comedy, such as like if you notice, like if you pay attention to sometimes, like they're introducing like some of the characters. There's like a chart. There's a chart behind Fisher, which is one of the cops, and like as they're explaining who he is, there's a big whiteboard behind him, and it's all pointing to something that's in the center of the thing that you can't see because his head's blocking it. But it looks like it's pointing at him, where it says like doofus, never on time, like stuff like that.
Great.
But like in another shot, you see what the actual thing is pointing at, and it's like talking about something else.
That's
so
clever.
There's a lot of like visual bits like that. And the lines are like and like there'll be stuff. There'll be like lines that are matching the situation where someone's like, "You're pulling my leg," and then there'll be like a quick cut to someone who's actually getting their body dragged by their leg being pulled.
I like that.
So yeah, like the writing on this movie is very top tier because of the foreshadowing and like the visual bits that match the writing. When I first watched this movie, like every time I thought about it afterwards, because I watched it like a few years ago, I always remember like, wow, this movie felt really, really long. I got to like dedicate a lot of time to it. And like, oh, wait a minute, it's only 2 hours. Why did I think the movie was so? I for sure thought this movie was like at least 2.5 hours long because it felt so long when I was watching it the first time. And I couldn't figure out why I thought that. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I went back into the movie, and then for some reason, it just felt like the same thing. I was like, wow, this movie feels really long. I don't understand why. And it's because of the pacing. The pacing sometimes gets really sluggish. Like, there's a lot of setup to the payoff of like the spoiler alert, the secret cult that runs everything in this small town. Like, there's a lot of setup to that. And for some reason, I feel like there was too much setup because like every time they talked about something new happening or something that happened or like them not believing Simon Pegg's character, it felt like it just dragged on for like a situation too long. We're like, oh, you know what? They didn't believe him the first time. That makes sense. They didn't believe him the second time. Okay, now it's kind of getting weird. They didn't believe him the third time. All right, now you guys are just kind of, you're pulling my leg now. So I feel like they probably could have caught. They could have been like an hour and 45-minute long movie, and it probably would have been the perfect length. But it just kind of hit a little too much. Also during the action scene. Now I know they're trying to be parody like Bad Boys and all the crazy action movies and stuff like that. I get that, but some of the cuts that they're doing, like the editing of the action scenes, aren't like the usual montage Edgar Wright is known for. It's like there are like 50 cuts in like 5 seconds, and they're all like less than a second long, and so it's so jarring to look at that you actually don't know what you're looking at until like the scene is over. So like, okay, you got from point A to point B, but like everything in the middle, I have no clue how we got there because things are going so freaking fast. Now, this is during the time of like Jason Bourne and the Bourne trilogy, and the Bourne trilogy has a lot of that, like that quick editing, shaky cam, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if they're trying to parody that, but obviously they were trying to parody like Bad Boys because there's literally a spinning shot that they copy straight from Bad Boys. So I don't know what they were trying to go for that. So I don't think it was on purpose that they were trying to do the quick cut madness. It was just, and it kind of gave me a headache. And so those are kind of the negatives I had about the movie, but a lot of pros: solid writing, solid script, and visual comedy. And ending's a bit abrupt. Kind of, I felt like they kind of just forgot something because like the whole, so they go through like going through all the people that are part of the cult, right? And then at the end they kind of like, oh yeah, it's time to finish up, and then they're like, oh wait a minute, we forgot about that one guy. Oh, let's just throw in this extra scene to to solve that like cliffhanger.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And then they end it on like they fake a death, but then like they fake the death, and it's not even 15 seconds later that they reveal that he didn't die. So I was like, what was the point of faking the death?
Oh god.
Yeah, so I gave it a 4 out of 5. That is my rating for this movie. Because
not bad.
I generally enjoy this movie. It's good. I like the comedy. I like the action. But there are some stuff that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Fair
enough.
enough.
That's good. What's the word?
I don't know.
Rating. Good review.
Good rating. Thank you.
Goodness, there goes the beer. Well. Anyways, on to the last one.
All right.
Help.
Sorry.
On to the last film. Thank you again, though, Tiffany, for that suggestion.
Yes, thank you, Tiffany.
So,
good choice of movies.
I mean,
before we
Lewis,
transition.
Yes.
Well, it's because saying thank you, Tiffany, reminded me of something. And she's gonna hate that I put her on blast for this. Please keep this in the recording. My sister, one time, sneezed. No one said anything. She said, "Bless Tiff. Thanks, Tiff." And I thought it was the most hilarious thing when we were younger.
In case you didn't know, Tiffany is his sister.
Tiffany is my younger sister, yes.
No, he's just talking about some random girl.
Now,
all right, yeah, I should have put that into context.
Yeah. Our last suggestion is from Karen. She suggested a classic Mean Girls. So that is a movie I gladly watched. I have watched this movie a gajillion times. I don't even remember when I first saw it because I've seen it so many times since that I can practically quote the film. I rewatched it anyways, just so I could take notes because, I wanted to be able to write thoughts in the moment. So I came up with a little bit. It's not too much because, I mean, what is there to say other than it's a classic? It's still, even after seeing it, however many times I've seen it, it still makes me laugh so hard. And it takes a lot I feel like, for a movie to be able to hit that punchline every single time. You know, because sometimes you can see a movie and it's like, oh yeah, that's funny, but then it doesn't hit the same anymore after that. But like, this is one of the few movies that continues to be funny even to this day. Not only is it continuously funny, but it's also like just iconic in a sense of how it has impacted even, I guess you could say, today's generation, whatever the fuck today's generation is. I don't even know.
Alpha.
Ugh, they're not alpha. We just lost all of we just lost all of those followers. It's okay. So anyways, like, I could quote Mean Girls and almost anyone from any generation knows what I'm quoting. That's how iconic of a movie it is. Like, I can only think of maybe a handful of other movies that have that same impact on a culture or on society. And like, this one just has so many, you know. I could think of one quote maybe from one movie, and that's about it. Maybe one or two quotes from a movie. But Mean Girls has so many, you know. You can't sit with us. Or like, get in, Lizard, we're going shopping. There's just so many, okay?
Wear pink on Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink. She doesn't even go here. Anyways, I could keep going.
She doesn't go here.
My favorite is...
You can't just ask someone why they're...
Yes, you can't just ask someone why they're white. Come on, bro. This is so good. Okay. Anyways, perfectly casted, might I say. Okay. Every single person plays their character so well. Okay. Rachel McAdams plays Regina George so perfectly. I cannot think of another person who could play her better. And that is proven because there is a Mean Girls 2 and it is awful. Do not watch Mean Girls 2. I barely got through like the first 20 minutes of it and I had to turn it off.
Yeah, see, I basically was doing that with The Happening.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't have to watch Mean Girls 2, but I like years ago watched it and it was awful.
I wonder if there's a Drew Gooden like video on that. You know, his like sequels that aren't sequels.
Oh, baby. I could see it. I think there is. I think that's how I knew about it. I'm not going to lie. Anyways.
Shout out Drew Gooden. Love you.
Love you, man. You know, he lives in Orlando, I think.
Yeah.
Or Tampa. I'm like,
yo, that's big.
He's not far from here. Drew
Good.
Gooden, if you ever want to be on our podcast, let me know.
Please,
guys,
100%.
Tag Drew Gooden to our
Moist
podcast.
Critical. He lives in Tampa.
Okay, tag
That-
Moist Critical and
Love
tag
you,
Drew
Carly.
Gooden. Huge fans.
What a chaotic episode that would be.
Oh my God, that'd be so much fun though.
Oh, hell yeah.
I feel like Drew Gooden would really give a good review on a movie too, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be great. Anyways, but for real, tag him. Anyways, I wanted to mention that I feel like, okay, not trying to sound sexist, obviously,
No.
but I feel that this movie really and truly does a good job at capturing how teenage girls interact with each other. And yeah, of course, it's a little exaggerated because, like,
It's a comedy.
Yes, not only that, but also like Katie Heron, like, since she's from Africa and everything, she's seeing how they interact as like, so, you know, wild animals and shit like that. Of course, that's exaggerated, but it's not so much of the big picture that they're good at capturing. It's the tiny little details, the tiny little moments that is so scarily accurate. Like, for example, when like they're all, you know, standing in front of the mirror and they're all like, I'm so fat. And then they kind of just look at, and they're like talking themselves down. And then they just look at Lindsay Lohan and she's like, oh, I'm supposed to find something wrong with myself, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like how they kind of manipulate and interact with each other to, I guess, impact people. I don't know how to put it into words, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Okay. That's all that matters.
People.
Yes. Girls are good at manipulating. Okay. Now I also wrote down that Heather's walked so Mean Girls could run. I forgot I wrote that.
You're not wrong. No, a movie like Heathers will never be made ever again. That movie is like locked to its decade.
That movie was great too. I love Winona Ryder. But I really think that it paved a way for like, I'm talking about Mean Girls now. I feel like it really paved a way for, or not even paved a way, but I feel like it was such a huge impact on the whole chick flick genre that I feel like it's the alpha. I really do. Like, I think it is the top tier chick flick movie. But the best part about this film is that it's not just a chick flick. Guys can watch it too and find it hilarious and still not necessarily relatable because it's supposed to be about girl world or whatever, but it's still fucking hilarious, you know? So, I mean, you guys both have seen it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Case in point.
I watched it when it first came out.
Damn.
2005. Wow, that really... I was 5 years old. That's crazy.
That shows my age real quick.
Yeah,
I was
that really
10.
did. Saying you saw Mean Girls when it came out versus saying you saw Star Wars like Phantom Menace when it came out, just completely different to me.
Okay,
way
so
different.
Phantom Menace, I was 5.
Yeah, his dad didn't bring him to see Mean Girls.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Phantom Menace, I was 5. Mean Girls, I'm pretty sure I watched it with my little sister. But I probably saw it. Yeah, shout out to Tiff. I think I was 10 or 11, depending on when it came out that year.
Came out in 2000. Yeah, it came out in 2005. So that sounds about right. Basically, just all pros. You know, there's only really two. I wouldn't even say they're cons. It's just things that I wish were different, I guess. Or let me just say what they are. So first off, I really don't think they make movies like this anymore, and I wish that they did. I think that's not really a con. It's just more of like, I wish they made movies like this, and I feel like they try to recreate it, but that's not what I'm seeking. I'm seeking something that has the same impact as Mean Girls, you know, something that is unique, I guess you could say, and like has its own identity and isn't like, oh, we're gonna basically be a carbon copy of this or be a sequel or something like that. But it's like universally received as an iconic movie. Yes, and it's quotable and it's actually funny and it's got great cast. You know, like that's not even like a really complaint because it has nothing to do with Mean Girls itself. It's just I wish there was more like that now because I would go watch it. I just feel like comedies today aren't as funny to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I'm just not. I wouldn't consider myself. I don't like to consider myself a comedy movie fan because out of all of the comedies out there, I only like a handful. Because I feel like they just throw them out there and most of them are just dumb, you know?
Comedies these days are aimed at a different
demographic.
Not even just demographic, but like
sense of humor.
Sure. I mean, what used to be funny when Mean Girls was around is no longer considered funny.
I guess that's true. I guess if you take that concept, you could also bring it way back to like slapstick. You know, silent films, their idea of comedy was to drastically injure themselves. But if you think about it, that still carries on today because we just had Jackass come out last year.
We had the Jackass films. We had not as a movie, but like Ridiculousness with what's his fucking face?
Again?
It's an MTV show. Hold on, I'll look it up real quick.
But like, I see what you're saying. Where
America's Funniest Home.
Yes,
America's Funniest Home Videos. You know what I mean? Like
everybody loves enjoying watching children get hurt.
Yeah,
classics.
Or even watching children hurt their parents. You know, Rob Dyrdek, that's his name. Is for
I can agree with you on that idea that humor. You know, obviously, I know comedy changes and evolves, and maybe now today's humor isn't really something I would consider funny. It's that doesn't mean they can't make something that I do find funny. You know?
Yeah, no, I think where it's more like they try to be too safe with the comedy that they put out now because they don't want to get the movie. They don't want the movie to pan because of social backlash.
Yeah, they'll never make like a Mel Brooks movie. That'll never happen again.
And shit, this doesn't even apply just to movies. It also applies to like general comedy stand up today. There's a handful of comics that won't do certain topics anymore, and then there's a handful of comics who are getting completely shit on for the topics they chose.
As for my second con, I guess if I really had to nitpick, and this is really nitpicking it, I could say that it can be a little cheesy at times. However, that's expected because it is a chick flick. It's the genre. There's gonna be moments, but I feel like it's so easily and immensely overpassed.
Sure.
I feel like it's very overpassed by
Overlooked?
the rest of the movie. Sure, overlooked. I don't know. Anyways, it's insurmountable to the rest of the movie.
She's using so many dictionary words.
Yeah,
I know. I don't think any of these are actual words.
No, those are all actual words. I just don't know if you're using them correctly.
I don't either.
Keep using that word. I don't think you know what it means.
Okay, so what were you trying to say? One more time,
Oh,
'Cause I
don't make
wanna
me do it
know.
again.
please. No. What are you trying to say?
I think that the cheesy points of the movie are insurmountable to the rest of it.
No,
they're
that's not how
very
you use that
minor.
word. That is
Okay,
definitely
well,
not how
they're
you use that
very
word.
minor.
Okay, no. What you're trying to
Overweight.
say? No.
Overweight.
Outweighed. That's the word. Outweighed. That's the
Outweighed.
word I want to use.
That, or you could say the cheesy moments in the movie can be overlooked in
Nah,
favor of
it's outweighed.
all the positive thing. Yeah.
Outweighed is the one I was thinking of when I wrote this down. They can be easily outweighed.
Insurmountable.
Insurmountable. That's my homeschool brain. Anyways, that's my rating. And to actually rate it with stars, it is going to be a 4.5 out of 5. But well, no, you know what? 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Classic. Never ever will hate the movie, and whoever hates it, I hate you. I'm just kidding. I love everyone.
Well,
That concludes our listeners' episode. So thank you, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Again, huge shout out and thank you to our 3 listeners that helped make today's episode possible. That's Karen, Jason, and Tiffany. Thanks. If you guys want your favorite or even least favorite, if you want to torture Lewis some more, if you want one of those 2, your favorite or least favorite movie, to be reviewed and rated by us, you can email us at silverscreensips@gmail.com. And we have a new listeners episode at the end of each season. So be sure to send those suggestions in because the next one will be here before you know it. You can also follow us on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify at Silver Screen Sips, and Twitter at Silver Screen Sip with no S. Now that everyone has left, it's time for our huge news for season 4.
hell
Are you guys
yeah,
ready?
brother.
Do you want to mention it? Do you want to announce it, Isaiah?
We will be adding a new segment to the podcast called This Week in Hollywood, where we'll be going over our favorite or very notable news headlines of the week that will be relevant to the time of the recording. And
Yes.
we're going to go over those and, give our reactions and maybe talk about it a little bit, see what we got to say, see what happens.
I'm super excited. We'll be talking about the hot gossip of Hollywood, as well as any updates on the film industry that you guys might need to know, or just really unimportant ones that we think are hilarious that you also need to also have in your brains.
Yeah. Like what stupid sequel just got greenlit?
Exactly. Who is leading in the next blockbuster fail?
Updates
What did
on
Ezra
Mario
Miller do
movie.
now?
Oh, God.
I actually forgot to mention something during my review, and I'm just gonna throw it in here at the end.
How's
Mark
it related to Ezra Miller?
Wahlberg himself said that movie was fucking terrible, but fuck it.
I got a little more respect for the man.
And M. Night Shyamalan was like, he's allowed to think that way. I forgot to throw that in there, so I'm gonna throw that in as like a nice little note at the end. Anyway,
The Curse of the Black Pearl. I tried that in a pirate accent and it didn't work. Curse of the Black Pearl. Yeah.
The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Let's hear it, Isaiah. Let me hear your accent.
I got scurvy.
So bad. Oh, it's so bad.